I retrieved these statistics from the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Now I will tell you my story. My name is Helena Hall, and I am a domestic violence survivor. I once heard Juanita Bynum say, "I am the face of domestic violence." Well, I'm here to tell you that domestic violence comes in many faces: ethnic background, social and financial status, and ages. Men are also victims of domestic violence. For me, it started in 2000. I started a relationship with someone I had known for 5 years at that point. He hid the signs so well at first. Later it was name calling, and about a year after that he slapped me for the first time. I was so stunned I did not know what to do. As most abusers do, he promised it would never happen again, and it didn't for about a year. The second time it happened, I knew I had to leave. My problem was I had nowhere to go. I moved away from my hometown in southern New Jersey and was estranged from my family. My parents were both deceased, and I was all alone. Isolation was the first thing my abuser did. He made it where all I had was him and his family, and it was all right at first. But when I moved up northern New Jersey, I knew absolutely no one, and he made sure I was not aware of my surroundings. How did this happen? He took me everywhere I needed to go, or his mother, and I worked only 10 minutes away from where we lived. I made no friends and did not keep in touch with anyone from back home. Big mistake. It seemed harmless at first because he acted like he loved me so much. That was the trap, and I was slowly falling deeper and deeper in this trap. At the time, I only had an 8-year-old daughter, and everything seemed fine. He did not have kids of his own and wanted so desperately to have a son. The first time I got pregnant, I miscarried. Was that a sign I missed? The second time, 6 months later, I was pregnant again. And this is when it all started. A couple of weeks before I knew for sure I was pregnant, he verbally abused me. He did not hit me. Many people mistake verbal abuse as not being abuse, but it is. It can lower your self-esteem if you let it, and I let it. The abuse started to get out of control, more verbal than physical. I did everything to hide the abuse because I did not have physical scars. Mine were emotional and just as bad. No one on the outside knew my abuser was like this. They all thought we had the perfect life. That is because I hid it well, because I was ashamed. I thought, how could this happen to me? I am smart. I have a good job. I was brought up right. I did not know anything about this, and now I am going through it. It was so unreal to me. And I was just existing and going through the motions. I wasn't living. I did not know how to live, and frankly, I thought I was going to die. Can you imagine being scared to think, speak, leave, stay, or sleep? I was so tired at that point that I ended up in a shelter because I had nowhere to go. I finally got away, but not really. The residue of abuse is so intense that even when you are not in that situation physically, your state of mind is still there. When I arrived at the shelter, I was greeted by a counselor, and she had asked me, did we eat? I replied no, and she told me to go into the kitchen so that my children and I could have something to eat. After we ate, she asked me what did I want to do, and I responded by saying, I want sleep. For so long, I did not have a good night rest because I was trying to protect my kids. How was I trying to protect my kids in that situation? He only abused me when no one was around, which made it difficult for anyone to believe me. My kids were not harmed. He did not yell at them. Every day I was trying to figure out how to get out. You see, I can't speak for all domestic violence shelters, but the one I was in only gave you help for a certain amount of time. Not only that, there were some insensitive employees that were verbally abusive as well. For someone who is battered physically, emotionally, verbally, financially, they are fragile. Everyone's strength is not the same. This has to stop. This is why some women eventually go back. They go back not because of love, but fear. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Let me explain. When you are a victim, you learn what to do, what not to do. You learn what to say, what not to say. This is the control that the abuser has over you. Understand, the abuser carefully did everything that they could over a period of time to win this control over your life. And no one, I mean no one, should ever have that much control over your life. Somehow this happened to me. When you're in a shelter, to an extent, someone still has control over your life because you have to do what they say. In these shelters, the counselors and anyone working there have to understand what you've been through and that you need help, not a dictator. Unfortunately, I ended up back with my abuser. Why? Because when my time was up, I had absolutely nowhere to go. It was difficult this time because it took a good while before he started with the verbal abuse. I never intended to stay. I was just trying to get myself together to leave permanently. My family, you say, this is a point that I will delve in this series, but my family was not a part of my life. They didn't really know what was going on. I was too ashamed of being judged or talked about. I want to say that all families go through things, some good, some bad. But when you feel like you mean nothing to them, they are the last ones you ask for help. If you think they will judge you, talk about you, or even use you. Remember, my mom and dad were deceased. During all this time, I was trying to fix it. I was. That was a huge mistake as well. In 2009, when I began to seek God and started to pray, the atmosphere changed. Everything seemed different, and I felt stronger. I grabbed on to Jesus, and He was my life raft, my protector, my strength, just my everything. I no longer accepted any of my abuser's abuse. I asserted myself and said no more. And on March the 24th, 2010, the anniversary of my mother's death, God delivered me. I felt a strength I cannot explain, and I told Him to leave. He came at me to hurt me, and I literally had to run in the pouring rain for my life, and I called the police. They came and took him away, and he has been gone ever since. To God be the glory. When I let go and let God, He delivered me from harm. Why am I doing a series on domestic violence? It stems from what my pastor said one Sunday some years ago. He said, somebody somewhere need your testimony. At the time, I was ashamed, but not anymore. Some will judge me, call me stupid, say I should have left, I was not thinking about my kids, I wanted to be with him, etc. To those, this is not for you. This is for that scared individual that feels lost and hopeless, just as I did so long ago. But you can never judge any situation that you don't have any personal experience with. When a person do not have resources to leave and stay gone, he or she feels trapped and can't leave. This was once my reality, but God set me free. This is one of my testimonies, and I hope it will bless someone. If you know anyone dealing with this, please don't turn your back on them. You just might save their life. It is important that we bring awareness over this epidemic because it happens more often than you think. I am not doing this because I want sympathy. I am doing this to let other people know you can be a survivor too. Stay tuned. This series will be a long one because I will break it down. I will break down all of the domestic violence that I went through. And I hope that it will bless someone, possibly save someone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. God bless.